Hello, hello. I am Roxanne and I am owner operator of Soul to Soul Healing here in Saskatchewan, Canada. And welcome to my YouTube page. This is not my first video. I have had technical difficulties getting started on this YouTube platform. I've tried various ways of uploading and downloading and recording and anywho, here we are, and I'm hoping this one is a go. So, welcome to my YouTube channel, Soul to Soul Healing. And in this first video, I just want to give you an introduction of who I am and what we're about. A little of my background story, and kind of just get you introduced to our place here. So, again, I am Roxanne Vallier. I am from Saskatchewan, Canada. And I grew up here. I grew up just 6 miles that way. My parents, have a farm not far from us, and I grew up here on a little farm, and we have gone on to create our own little farm, and we have 7 horses. The day I'm recording this, but energetically I'm like, bring them all. And there's more coming. So my little herd is going to grow and transform how it's naturally supposed to. But as of today, this recording, I have 7. I have 5 light horses and 2 minis. And if you go to soultosoulhealing.ca, you will have an introduction of them all there. The horses are listed there on the website for you, so you can get acquainted with my little herd. So yes, I grew up here in Payton, Saskatchewan. Grew up on a farm, and I went to school. I went to college after graduating high school. I went to college for livestock production, and then ranch and feedlot rider. So everything cows and other livestock. We did learn about other livestock as well, but mostly cows. And then ranch and feedlot rider, which is all things horses and ranch style horsemanship. And then I went on to advertising and public relations, because after I graduated from agriculture college, I decided, alongside of actually doing the practical stuff of it, I wanted to, promote. I wanted to be, the words I told myself, I'm like, I want to be an agriculture communicationalist. And so I chose the best course that I found at the time, was drawn to that course in Lethbridge, advertising and public relations. And I wanted to talk about all things agriculture. That time and space there kind of led me down a different path. It was sort of the initial path, the start of it, because that's where I hit my first breakdown in Lethbridge. I was a country girl in the middle of a city, and the teachers and the other students are like, girl, you've got to broaden your horizons. I don't know how many times in 2 years I heard, you need to change who you are to make us feel comfortable. And we're going to teach you, we're going to broaden your horizons. We're going to teach you about all the things that we like, so we don't have to be uncomfortable with the things that you like. Does that make, where I'm going with that? And it broke my heart. It broke my heart to not be loved, not be accepted for who I was and what my passions were and what I was all about and why I even chose that course in the first place. And many family and friends back here in Saskatchewan were telling me I would love it down there in Lethbridge because it was so agriculture. There was cows, there was horses, there was all the things like agriculture down there. It was a bustling agriculture community, but not in the ad PR class. You know what I mean? Not in that specific, even the media wing of the college, or that college wasn't necessarily agriculture related either. They didn't have ag courses there. They actually had more ag courses at the university. But anyways, long story short, it broke me. It broke me. And so that is where I first sought out counseling. That's where I first talked to my first therapist and went like, I'm stressed. Like, I'm stressed out here. I just found it very, very hard to focus on my schoolwork when I was struggling emotionally and mentally. And I had friends and I made friends. And I still had, a handful of, obviously I could still speak to my family and my other friends, who I knew before. But I was just in this place that just didn't accept me for who I was. Anywho, I sought out counseling and went down that path, came out of Lethbridge College, and I'm still doing agriculture, I still jumped right in, 2 feet right in, and here I was. And just after college, I found a relationship, kind of settled into a relationship, and started building my dream. We talked about all the things that we wanted to create together and individually, and we just started building. And so here we are, building our life, building our dream life. And this path led me down. I was still struggling. At the beginning, I was still struggling. There was something new, something different, something more. How do I want to tell this piece of the story? At the very beginning of the relationship, like I said, we talked about our dreams and our goals and everything. And my first goal was to become a horsemanship coach. And so I started taking, because I never actually got my coaching. I'd, taken all things horsemanship or a bunch of horsemanship stuff before, right? Up until this point, but I never actually got my coaching certificate at any point. So I was aiming towards that goal. And so I started taking riding lessons in the way of working through this specific coaching program and on my way to get my coaching certificate. And this is where things got really, really difficult. My horses started acting up. They started becoming lame. They started getting injured. They started getting hurt. I didn't know why this was coming up. I started seeking out massage people, chiropractic people, holistic healing people. My body started breaking down. I started having things go on that I had no idea what was up or what was going on. And there was just this like stuff going on as I was building our dream, like as we created this farm together, as I was creating my business, as I was seeking out these goals and pursuing all of these goals. It was just harder than it had to be. It wasn't easy. It didn't flow. So I kept, pivoting and adjusting and changing. And so that really asked me to seek out a different way. So along with the horsemanship riding lessons and coaching lessons, I jumped into the Pirelli Natural Horsemanship Program. And there they speak about obviously building the relationship with the horse, natural horsemanship techniques. But they talk about building your relationship with the horse, which is not what anyone else had spoken about before. And so that was kind of something new. It was a new path to go down. And they talked about energy. They talked about understanding my energy, understanding the horse's energy, mirroring energy, working with their energy. They talked about the mental aspects of it, the psychological aspects of it, the emotional aspects inside of yourself, in the horse. How did the horse show up? And it was just a different perspective. But those words, those perspectives, those teachings, I started practicing that type of horsemanship. It still wasn't the answer, but it led me down other paths and other roads. So like I mentioned, yes, the horsemanship. So I was seeking out other options there, but my body was starting to really act up, and things go on in my body. So I started seeking out energy healing, emotional healing, mental practices, and everything. So my journey started with so many things. Reiki was one of the first one that I found. Hypnotherapy was one of the first ones I found. There was like A Course in Miracles, Gabby Bernstein, Eckhart Tolle, Crystal Andrus, Christy Marie Sheldon, and I just lapped up everything I could in the way of audio programs or online courses, books, videos, teachings. I took my Reiki level 1, 2, body talk. I took that the first year as well. So I took my body talk. I went to body talk sessions. So I did sessions of all kinds, all over the place. And this led me, actually it was my Reiki, one of the first 2 levels of Reiki. The other practitioners were standing around doing the session, doing the practice on me. And one of them stated, they're like, your purpose is in your hands. And I'm like, what in the fuck can I do with my hands? Like, what do you mean? My purpose is in my hands. I didn't, but just as the whole journey, this entire journey, what I have to say about emotional healing journey, emotional or energetics or spiritual journey or any journey of this sort is it flows. If it's right, it flows. It just falls into your lap. If you are open for it, if it's meant for you, it just comes and you find it and it finds you and it just flows. So that's what happened. And it was just like, okay, take this tiny little message. My purpose is in my hands. The next thing I know, I'm listening to an interview, an audio from a hand analysis, and her business is called like Your Purpose or Your something like that, all about purpose anyways. And the hand analysis gives you a lot of information. I love that one. It's a reading that you can get, a hand analysis reading. And it has a lot of information about your entire life, about your purpose and your life lessons. And I can't even list it all here. It's just got so much. Your lifeline, your heartline, all of it. But that initial thing, like your purpose is in your hands, drew me to learn hand analysis, which absolutely helped me steer me or keep me on track. I keep going back to it. I keep finding reasons to kind of like read through my hand analysis again and really sit with and upgrade and step into my purpose and just reiterate that powerful purpose that's inside of me. And even though it says it on the paper, it didn't come from the paper. It came from inside of me. You know what I mean? And it just kind of reiterates it. So I found that and I learned that and I stepped into that. I found angels and guides, and I took multiple trainings on all kinds of angels and guides and angels and dragons and fairies and mermaids and all the things. Angels and other realms and just diving into all things etheric. And I went down that path. I love doing card readings. I love doing divine readings, spirit readings, spirit guide readings. I love opening it up and speaking to your team. They have such divine messages for everyone. Absolutely love those sessions too. It's crazy, crazy, crazy what I learned. After that, I stepped into, I'm just reading down the list. I've made, oh my God, I've got like 15 plus things on this list that I want to share with you. Akashic Records. Just after that, I was reading one of the angel books actually, and this lady was talking about the Akashic Records, and seriously, I couldn't even pronounce the word. I had to look it up in the dictionary and get the dictionary to pronounce it for me. I couldn't even pronounce it. And I'm just like, I was intrigued, right? But again, it's like one thing led to another and it just fell into place. So I read the word, got acquainted with the word, saw the word. Next thing you know, there's a practitioner in the little town next to me. And now he's teaching the class. And then I, got my Akashic practitioner. I've had many readings for myself and done many readings for others. It's amazing, amazing, amazing technique as well. I did learn a little bit about astrology. I more wanted to learn, same as hand analysis, more wanted to learn about my birth chart and all that, and understand and know a little bit about it. So when I kind of follow astrologers, I kind of know what they're talking about and have a little bit of background in it. Not really something I offer. That was more personally for me. I can do readings. It's just not something that I've thrown into my offers. And then I took a little hiatus. No, that's not the word. I took a little stint off, but not really. So I just took like a little personal break because I probably needed it. Because I heard a lady say, she was talking about, but she's just, it was Crystal Andress, and she just like empowers women. And so she was just talking about kind of like where women have come through in the way of women's rights and just, how they couldn't vote and they couldn't, own a house and they couldn't get their own loans and mortgages and buy cars and they could, we've changed and we've shifted a lot. And so what she was kind of explaining and saying was, the phrase that I took out of her course was, do you know your grandmother? Or sorry, it started with, do you know your mother's story? Do you know your grandmother and her story? Do you know your great-grandmother? Do you know your great-great-grandmother? Do you know your great-great-great-grandmother? Do you know their names? Do you know their stories? Do you know where you come from? And I thought, that is a good question. I mean, it just intrigued me. It intrigued me enough to start building my family tree, to start doing family healings, to figure out where not just my grandmothers, but my grandfathers, where my family ancestry, and just the history, like not all history, but the history that my family has come through, the experiences that we've come through, the situations we've come through, kind of like what religion, what health problems, what communities, what wars, what times, like were they in the Great Depression? Where were they during that time frame? Like what was going on in their lives? What are their stories? So that intrigued me. So this little stint that I took off for a couple years, I was creating, along with a group of people, a group of very dedicated, an amazing group. Like this group was so amazing, an amazing group of people to work with. And we created the Paint and History books. And because the community that I came from, there was history books created in like the 80s, the 90s for all of the different communities around me, and Painted never had one. And so as I was looking for this information, I'm like, anyone want to help me? And a whole group of people came together and we created the Paint and History book. We gathered so much information, we actually made it into 2 books, 2-volume set. So I spent a lot of time doing that, and that was transformational for me in a lot of ways. I was one of the head people on that committee, and it helped me step into my leadership. It gave me knowledge and experience in the way of creating something, writing, publicizing, advertising, collecting information, doing ancestry stuff, doing like history research and stuff. It just, it gave me so much experience. And then we launched it. We launched the books and sold them in 2017. And after that, I was exhausted. I gave myself a couple months off, and then I jumped right back into. And again, it all fell into place. One thing led to another, right? I went to the graveyard. So it was one of the research things, right? To understand who came through this community, what families and whatnot. One of our pieces of research was going to the cemetery and gathering all the information from the cemetery. And we went there and we did that. And when I walked through it the first time, it took about 5 years to actually create the book, but actually like sitting down and doing the writing and the editing and pulling together the pictures and the captions and all of the information. That was like the time that I really dedicated to the book. Before that, we were kind of gathering, we were talking to families and sending out letters, and it was a bit of a little bit more simple stuff that we kind of just did, and then let the universe help us out, getting back to us with their stories and their information and whatnot. Anywho, we went to the cemetery about 5 years previous, right, at the beginning of our research. And I didn't know, like I maybe only knew like a handful of people in that cemetery, family people, like members, right, that I'd met and known. And when we were done the book, and I had gone through and I'd gone through the experience of creating those books, I went back to the cemetery. I was drawn to go back to the cemetery. And I walked up and down the aisles at the cemetery, and I looked at each of these headstones, and it's almost like I knew these people. I knew their stories. I knew, like, I could see the pictures in my mind's eye, and I not necessarily had a connection with them, but I had some kind of, it's like I knew where they came from, who they were, what they did and what they accomplished and what they were a part of while they're part of this community. They became people to me, not just a name on a stone. And it was a very spiritual experience. And then I went and I sat over with my grandfather's stone. This is a grandfather who I've never met. He passed before I was born. And I went and sat near his stone. And a butterfly went flittering by, and I think a gopher or something. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm quite spiritual, and I've taken these, intuitive courses, and, I've practiced all of these pieces, like spiritual practices, right? I have all of this behind me. Maybe I can speak to my grandpa. And nothing came through that day. Nothing. Well, that was when the butterfly, I opened up the energy, and the butterfly flew by. And as it happens, everything fell into place. So I didn't actually get a message from my grandfather, but I came home and I opened my computer and I punched in like mediumship, and there all of a sudden, I'm sure she did things before and things just kind of fell into place, but there was a mediumship class again in the community right next to me, and it was on in like a weekend or two, and then all of a sudden extra funds came in, and it was just like click, 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 there. My weekend was free, and it just all fell into place. So I took my mediumship, as all of these things do. I also signed up for, at that time, yoga, to become a yoga teacher. And again, it was the same thing. So my mom started taking me to yoga classes. she started going to or whatever, and she thought I would love them, and I did. The very first yoga class that I went to, I was on my mat, and I'm like, I'm gonna teach this. Like, I'm gonna teach yoga. I don't know what in the hell it is besides like stretching and breathing, and with a final meditation. But I love this. I love this. I'm teaching this. And like, I was curious, like, how did this lady from this small town Saskatchewan get her yoga teacher training and become a yoga teacher and start practicing here in this small town? And so you ask the question and you put it out there and you're like, yeah. And all of a sudden, here we are. The class is, offered. I think it was only offered for a couple years. And then the teacher moved on. But it was, again, in the town next to me. And it worked out perfectly with my schedule. It worked out perfectly in funding. It worked out. It just, like, everything fell into place. And it all just happened. And there I was. There I was in yoga teacher training. And it was all leading me down this very beautiful path of healing and self-discovery and connection with the universe and grounding into myself and centering and clearing and healing. And it was beautiful. And it all just unwound so beautifully. And it actually kind of took the horsemanship coach, not necessarily right out of me. I would not say that. But it shifted it. It's like, so when I started healing, I started my healing journey in 2011. But it was like fall of 2011. And I really started stepping into it in 2012. I was starting to just get curious in 2011. And it was in 2012, I was doing my coaching, trying to do my horsemanship coaching. Though my horse was getting sick lame, and just not rideable. She was lame, but it was a mysterious lameness, a mysterious lameness that the vets could not figure out. And she was fine when we brought her home. So I was again pivoting, and I started doing this healing. And I was laying in the grass one day at our home, and I started this business. And I'm like, I'm going to create a business called, actually, I think I wanted to call it Soul to Soul Connections. And then it turned into Soul to Soul Healing. And I said to myself, as I'm creating this, like, I'm going to create a business that uses horses to heal people. And I've never, ever, ever strayed away from that intention in my business format. But I needed to take all of this learning first. I needed to take I had to have my own journey. I just started in 2011, and like a year later, I had only one course under my belt, and signed up for another one. And I'm laying in the grass, setting this intention and creating this business. And here I was. And I'm like, I'm going to use horses for healing. That's what I'm going to do. And so I needed to learn. I needed to learn how to do the healing. I needed to learn how to heal myself. I needed to learn how to heal the horses. I needed to learn how to use the horses, connect with the horses, and use them to heal people. So I moved on. After all of this, like, now we're done, like 2018 rolls around, and I have all of this previous stuff. Let me just make sure all of this stuff. So 2018 rolls around, and I found, I missed one. Sorry. 2016, I did take equine rehabilitation, which was like horse massage, and energy work. So that's where I learned how to do, take all of the stuff I knew, like energetically, how to do on people, and do like energy work on myself and others, and how to bring it to the horses. So this lady, beautiful lady, amazing lady, and she taught us how to do the energy work on the horses, as well as the physical, and really read. And again, she taught the spiritual, she taught the emotional, she taught the mental, and she taught the physical. And it was a beautiful course. So now I knew how to do the energy work and the physical work on myself, others, and horses. And not necessarily all animals, but I could do like readings, healings on like cats, dogs, cows, all the other things. Just it was equine massage related, right? Like, and then, yeah, I told you about those ones. So yes, 2018, back to that piece of the story. I found a lady out in BC who does some beautiful work with her horses, and horse medicine leadership is her program. And it was the spiritual course that I needed, or the course that I needed to connect the spiritual and the healing of the people. So I knew how to do the healing on people, again, myself, others, and animals. I needed to learn how to get the horses, connect the horses to do the healing with the people. Not just me doing animals, me doing people, right? Bringing it all together, all three together. So I was the facilitator, the horse was the healer or the connector, the divine being connecting to the spirit. And bringing the messages, bringing the healing, bringing the communication, and really settling into the healing, horses healing people space of it, right? Okay, so I took that class in 2018, and I started practicing and I started offering, and nothing short of miracles in any single one of these. I am going to do so many more videos for you to really get you acquainted with what I do and what is going on here, and what I've created for you. And I am going to tell you every time, nothing short of miracles and transformation. And it's amazing. All of this work is amazing. And so that's another thing that I offer. And I'm creating a course that's actually going to teach you how to become a facilitator as well and do this work. I haven't got there yet. So I took that piece. But that piece, as amazing as it was, it also offered me my next or another breakdown. It offered me my next lesson, the next piece of the puzzle. And it kind of started me off on the empathy sensitive portion. So up until this point, I've been doing a lot of work on myself and healing a lot of my past, healing a lot of my experiences, my ancestral. We went back into, my past lives and just healing me. And when you're in a breakdown, or when you're in like the dark night of the soul, that's what I would have called it at the very beginning in 2011. 2010 and 2011, I struggled big time. And the words I would use for it was my dark night of the soul. And this is me trying to get up, right? Bringing my way out of it. And I was just clogged up. I don't know how else to say it. I was just full. I was full of emotions. I was full of stress. I was full of anxiety. I was full of depression. I was full of emotions. I was full of false limiting beliefs. I was full of other people's projections. I was full of coulda, shoulda, wouldas, rules and regulations and just people pleasing. And I was cluttered. And so while doing this journey of all of this healing, up until that point, it kind of cleared me out. You know what I mean? They're clearings, they're healings, and they move through. So by 2018, I can't say I was a clean slate, but I can say I was a lot more clear. On who I was and what I was doing. But now I felt cluttered up with other people's stuff. I didn't understand. I didn't understand. I struggled with this one a little bit because as an empath, as a highly sensitive person, when I do personality readings of any kind, I don't care what personality reading I have done, they all say you are within like the 2%, your personality is within like the 2% of the most highly, 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 highly sensitive people on this earth. There is no other people except for the other people in the same group of people more highly sensitive than you. And I didn't understand it as this highly sensitive person, what was mine and what was others. I struggled understanding. I just felt it. And my saying was, feel it to heal it, feel it to heal it. And I kept feeling things and I kept feeling things. And there came a time when they weren't getting healed because they weren't mine. And so the last piece of the puzzle is I went for my advanced mediumship. And that was the last course I took. It's probably not the last one I'm going to take, but up until this point, it was the last course I took. And it has led me to where we are here. So after that, we added in 2 beautiful children. This room behind me is now, it's brand new. Only had the first few sessions. I have yet to do, I've done a soft opening, soft launch. I've yet to do the full-blown launch of my healing retreat center. Out this door is the rest of the retreat center, where I'm going to hold the classes and the workshops and whatnot. And so we've created this beautiful space in our basement with a private entrance into this retreat center. Horses just outside of this door and then that door, and then the horses are just outside. So I can offer all of these things right here at our beautiful ranch and home for you guys. And that's where we are now. That's where I'm at. That's my journey. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm offering. In the coming days, I will be recording and offering to you videos and explanations and introductions to all of the things that I do, all the offerings and all the classes and all the courses and all the things that I have on the go right now. But if you want a little sneak peek into that, if you want to know more about me, about what's going on and everything like that, you can check out my website, soultosoulhealing.ca. You can go to my social medias. I have Facebook. That is the best place to find me, Soul to Soul Healing on Facebook. Under Roxanne Vallier, you'll find my picture there. The horse is there. That's how you know you're on the right Soul to Soul Healing page. I have the page, and then I have a group, Soul to Soul Connections, I believe, with some hearts or some stars or something. I have Instagram, which I'm still fiddling with. I was new to Instagram not long ago. I have LinkedIn. I have Twitter. If you're over on Twitter, I think it's just connected to my Facebook. I'm not active on Twitter. I have YouTube, as you know, because that's where you found me. I have my blog, which as of right now, I'm kind of repurposing. So if I write anything anywhere, it goes into my blog along with the photo. I have a podcast, The Little Filly Who Couldn't Be Broke. Just Google or search in your podcast place that you find your podcast. There's so many different places to find podcasts these days. Just search Roxanne Vallier and you'll find me, or The Little Filly Who Couldn't Be Broke. And I explain all of that over there. My podcast and my YouTube are going to kind of be like whatever topic that I pick for my podcast, I'm also going to be speaking about on my YouTube. And once I figure out technical glitches and all that good stuff, then I I don't know. I'm still very new. This is my introduction one. Like I said, I was having some technical difficulties. And so I'm going to see. They're going to grow. You guys, my YouTube page is going to grow with me. My podcast is going to grow with me. So just continue to grow with me. And there you go. There you go. So you can find me in all those places. I think that's it. I hope to see you on the next one, or see you in class or for a healing or outside with the horses. Love to have you here. I absolutely love doing this work. So hope to talk to you soon.